So McFarlane Toys might be having the most insane final year I've seen a toy company hold a license. Because while others might think, let's slow down a tad, let's not go crazy, they're like, let's make Saturn Girl an Aztec. I want to talk about it. It's morphin' time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video we're talking about McFarlane Toys and specifically how their last year of DC licensing is going, because it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I've been trying to keep up. Here's all the figures I haven't opened. That's what we're doing today. We're going to open all these. I've also got some others. That's fun as well. Some of these came out last year. Some of these actually are much older. I just started doing some eBay purchasing because they've really been going crazy. This is all ignited by my boy Aztec. If you want to know the Aztec story, go check out my recent video on DC Comics that need omnibuses. Go check that out. I tell this whole story about how I essentially manifested this figure into existence. So, yeah, and he arrived in my mailbox the day that video went up. So, anyways, this guy, very proud thing for me. But as I got him, and as other stuff was showing up, I was like, I've got a lot to open. And they're not going straight to a shelf, because what I want to do, my plan, is that I want to take all my DC Multiverse figures, put them into one display, right? And have like one figure for each character, and then probably just sell off the others that I don't want. That's kind of the goal, because the thing is that, especially in the case of female characters, they've really just been going hard crazy on the last year. And so I wanted to talk about that while opening these figures to put them in this box, to put them on a shelf eventually, because this is taking up like way too much space in my house, and I can, you know, toss the boxes, but keep the figures. So that's what we're gonna do today. If you think that sounds enjoyable, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and the notification bell. Hit the comments down below and tell me what you think of doing a format like this, because I don't know if I've never done it like this, but I've never really done this type of video. So I'm trying something new. I know that the toy content compared to the comic content and Blu-ray content has been a little bit lesser lately, so I wanted to kind of throw a bone to the people out there who like my toy stuff. So we're gonna do that, and I'm holding up a figure that came out 3 years ago. So this is the Dark Knight Scarecrow, or the Batman Begins Scarecrow in the business suit. This is one of the first Red Platinum figures. Red Platinum's essentially being I'm going to call him a marketing gimmick, because it's been one of the more frustrating things for me, who tends to like the more obscure characters. It's been very frustrating that a lot of them end up as Red Platinum figures, like Aztec is a Red Platinum figure, for example. And that's because the idea behind a Red Platinum, sort of confusing. I can't really explain it, because the idea is they're supposed to be chase figures, where it's like, oh, hey, this figure is rarer than these figures, so people have a reason to go to the store and get, you know, look for stuff. And I like, you know, all right, support physical retail, it's cool. But the weirdest part about these is that if they have the Red Platinum sticker, you can't order them online. Why not? They're just figures. And a lot of times, like, there's one here we'll look at, they're like sometimes even one or two in every case, and not just like an actual chase variant. And so it makes me go, well, what was the whole point behind calling it Red Platinum and not just letting me buy Scarecrow online? Because some of these are common enough that, you know, and the prices aren't that bad. So it's a weird system. Luckily, lately, at least for this year, almost all the Red Platinums, I know not every one of them, but most of them, you're able to order them off GameStop. Like I got Aztec and Saturn Girl and a couple others we'll talk about. Got them off GameStop, which was nice because, yeah, I could just order them from GameStop, and assuming they fulfill the order, we'll talk about that as well in a moment, then we're good to go. But there's Scarecrow. Looks pretty nice. But yeah, the thing that's crazy about McFarlane's final year is the fact that that wrist peg feels tight. I'm not going to mess with his hands today. But the thing with McFarlane's final year that's just crazy to me is that you know, we also have the final year of Playmates TMNT. And they were just kind of like, oh, hey, here's like a half dozen figures, and that's pretty much all we're going to do. Like, that's it. we're done after that. And it's like, okay, that's understandable. You're losing the license. You don't want to invest too much in too many releases in case they don't make it to stores and stuff. So this guy's not going into the box because I have behind me here, all my movie figures up here, so he's going up there. But yeah, so like, so Playmate's losing the Ninja Turtles license. It's going to Mattel. So they're not really going to be doing a ton of stuff. And that's totally fair because, it's the end of the line. Whereas Todd is like, McFarlane Toys is going to be different than everybody. And so for McFarlane Toys, they're just going ham. They're like, let's just get all these characters out we didn't do over all these years. Like we got Black Canary, I think. Nope, Black Canary's not in the stack. Black Canary's in my next Big Bad Toy Store pile of loot. Shining Knight, by the way, one of the first red Platinums, because she just had a Platinum sticker. The thing was that Platinum originally was just variants. It was like, you had, what was it, like, here's a grayscale Lobo. Like, that was a Platinum variant. Here's a bronze Arkham Joker. Like, that was a Platinum variant. I was like, all right, that's fine. It's not something most people need. And then at some point, they're like, what if Platinums were Shining Knight in the Question? And I'm like, that seems nuts considering, at least the Question is like a prominent character. I get Shining Knight, she's a little bit more obscure, but from what I can tell, looking at her, she's mostly new parts. So it's like, why would you limit that to a red Platinum chase? And the early red Platinum chases were a lot harder to come by. The later ones, sometimes, like, I think it was like Mr. Terrific for the Superman movie, like Walmart started getting just solid cases of just him. Again, it's not really a chase variant, you just find it at every store. But my area is really bad at stocking Multiverse, so it's been frustrating. I grabbed Shining Knight off eBay because I found her for $20, which is great because that's even cheaper than the current McFarlane price. And I was like, awesome, because I did want Shining Knight. And so for $20, I was like, perfect, yeah. So anyways, McFarlane's just going crazy this year. They're just like, we're just going to do everything. And so they've already put out a bunch of stuff this year. They're putting out more stuff. Like there's, what's coming up that they just announced another, like they have basically a couple waves that are just Batman variants. But like the most recent one was like, all right, before we lose the license here, we're going to get New 52 Batman out with a cloth cape. We're going to do Dark Knight Returns Batman with a cloth cape. We're going to re-release the Nightfall Azrael Batman, who everybody was like, oh, his colors are too bright, and he was hard to get because he was Walmart exclusive. Well, he's just going to come out in a normal wave. And it's like, they're making a mad dash for the end, which I kind of commend because, again, it's not typical. I was trying to see if I get her sorted. I don't want to put her in a box. Look how cool she is. Yeah, all right. So, anyways, the big thing that I want to do with my McFarlane. So reason I bought Shining Knight was because I'm trying to get all the obscure characters that I like that nobody else made but McFarlane Toys. Not like Riddler, but nobody makes Jim Carrey Riddler, first of all. Nobody makes him in his crazy disco suit from the end of the movie. So I got him on eBay as well. So there's a lot going on with the McFarlane line. And so a lot of gaps are being filled suddenly. Like, again, we finally got Black Canary after 6 years of not having her. We finally got Zatanna. And there's like a leaked list floating around that, if 100% true, is going to devastate my wallet. And that also thinks things are going to devastate my wallet anyways, because that leaked list has stuff on it that's already been confirmed. So we've already got a couple things that were on the leak list. So it's like, okay, that leak list is probably accurate. And then the crazy part is we just got announcements of stuff that wasn't on the leak list, like the Vault collection, because they said, oh, let's re-release some harder to get figures like the comic Wonder Woman, like the Collector Edition Wonder Woman is coming back around. I got another Dark Knight Batman, this one with a different cape, because I kind of wanted a second Dark Knight Batman. But there's some figures like, yeah, Bank Robber Joker's another one. And it's like, okay, so we're not only just getting new stuff we never got before, but we're also getting harder to find figures re-released before the license expires. So that's kind of like bonkers. And then like they even did Dark Knight Joker and Bane. And they're both like, they were getting hard to find, and Bane was a Build-A-Figure, but now they just came out as normal like deluxe theatricals. And so for me, I kind of missed the Dark Knight wave because I was just tired of Dark Knight stuff, and I didn't know at the time they were doing the Dark Knight wave we'd be going as deep into Batman movies that we'd get Disco Suit Riddler. So I skipped them, which is why I just bought Scarecrow. So I only have Batman, and I have Batman, I have Catwoman, and I've got Lucius Fox and the Tumbler. So I have them, but I don't have Joker, so I got the new Joker. I didn't have Bane, so I got the new Bane, and I don't have Two-Face, and I'm kind of hoping for a new Two-Face because the old one's going for like crazy money. Mr. Miracle was last year. I didn't pick him up at my Target because I was like, well, I don't really want a Mr. Miracle if they're not going to make a Big Barda. That leaked list has Big Barda on it. I'm not going to mention what's on the leak list otherwise, but they had Big Barda on it, and I was like, okay, let me get Mr. Miracle just in case. So that's him. But yeah, so it's been kind of, it's crazy too, because it's like, we thought, oh, maybe there's not going to be any toys for the Supergirl movie because of the license switch over, and yet Todd and friends at McFarlane was just like, here's Supergirl in 4 different figures, and here's a Lobo, and here's Creme of the Seven, or the Yellow Hills, or whatever, and here's Lobo's bike, and Lobo's hook, and we're also going to make, like, Melissa Benoist Supergirl to go with it, and it's like, this is not normal final year behavior, and I just wanted to kind of commend it a little bit, because I just think it's nice to not just see the company give up, because that was kind of an issue with Mattel, was that like Mattel's last year was kind of pathetic in a lot of ways. Like they showed a ton of figures and like, we're gonna make Hawk Girl and Mammoth and Black Canary, weird common theme, and a bunch of other figures, and then they just never materialized, and they just kind of went out on a whimper, and it was sad, because I was like, oh man, there were some really cool figures that just never saw the light of day. And I was kind of worried with how much stuff they were showing at McFarlane that it was going to be the same case, but we were getting cases like, oh, here's Aztec. Not to keep going on back on Aztec, but they're like, here's Aztec, and they revealed him 3 days after he was found in stores. So it's not like oh, they showed this at last year's Comic-Con, I hope they release it. No, they already have released a bunch of stuff. There's Mr. Miracle. He uses a base body, so he's like too tall, and he's probably going to be about the same height as Barda, but if they can somehow knock Barda into being like a 9-inch tall figure, I would be so happy, because I like it. She's big Barda. She shouldn't be normal sized. But, you know, there's that. That's an extra stand. And then also we're getting things like Brendan Routh's Superman. Brandon Routh's Superman hasn't had any like toys and merch basically since his movie came out in 2006, because the movie was like poorly received. People didn't like it, merch didn't sell, so we never got more of it. Now we've got a nice 7-inch tall one that's in a line that has a Christopher Reeve, a David Corenswet, and a Henry Cavill. So if you want to put all the modern movie Supermans together, you can. And that's actually kind of like the main reason I sort of went after a bunch of this line, was when they started doing the movie figures. It was like, all right, here's Dark Knight, here's DCU. I picked up some of them. But then when they started doing like, here's Batman and Robin, I was like, nobody makes Batman and Robin. And so like for me, you know, because a lot of people talk about they don't like the McFarlane scale, they don't like the articulation system, and I think it's totally valid. I obviously don't like the Red Platinum chase figure stuff. I don't like stuff selling out super quick because it doesn't seem like they're making enough. That's the kind of things that bug me. But on the flip side, you know, why do I keep buying figures from this line is because I don't know when we're ever going to get another Brandon Routh Superman. Because you have to be kind of insane to do it. It's not a common practice. And like when Mattel barely did live action figures, and when they did, it was like current stuff. They did like one wave where they went back and they're like, here's Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, and John Wesley Slip Flash, which are ironically, I think, were tall enough that they actually kind of fit with these guys. And that was it. So, yeah, it's just, I think that's why. Also, did he not have any, he has no accessories. It's just him and fists. That's fine. He's also going on the shelf, so he doesn't go into the box because he's a movie figure. But, yeah, so it's just, you know, I think that's the thing that's always kind of got me to collect the McFarlane DC stuff is here's stuff no one else made. And I think that's kind of their claim to fame and will be the thing I think the line's going to be remembered for, is they just went and did crazy stuff. So moving on to comic figures, here's Blackfire. I didn't get the first Blackfire because she was a chase variant to Starfire, which technically wasn't super accurate, but then they just kind of cobbled together some parts and made a new one that looks little bit more accurate. So I was like, cool, cool, cool. Another thing that McFarlane did, which didn't totally vibe with and don't totally love, they did McFarlane Toys Digital, which started during the whole NFT hype bubble thing. I never got NFTs. I never was into that. I always kind of was like, this feels like a shell game scam, and a lot of companies did shell game scams. McFarlane got in on it and like digital collectibles, and then I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. If people are into that, that's fine. I'm not gonna harsh their jam. Then they're like, we're gonna put a code for one in with the figure. I'm gonna stick that in recycling. Thing has no value to me. I want physical toy. And it was annoying too, because some characters like Blackfire, Dr. Fate, Stephanie Brown, spoiler, bunch of them. I have a bunch of the digital figures, but I get rid of the codes because it's like, I first of all don't vibe with it. Second of all, it's worthless to me. And third of all, I don't think like monetary value on a digital image of a toy makes any sense. Like, why would that cost money at all? You know, like it's a PNG. Maybe it's a GIF, you know, of like something animated. I don't see any value in it, and I kind of don't want to support a digital ecosystem for toy collecting, because I think if you get rid of the physical toy product, the whole point of the hobby goes away. You know, I feel like as much as we all complain about like, oh, we don't have space for this, we don't have space for that, are those fire fists going to stay? Those are not going to stay on her. She's very nice. As much as we do, you know, complain about space and stuff, I don't think if you have it only digital, there's just no tangible physical like, oh man, it's so cool having like Rocket Red in hand, because there is no in hand. It's just a digital image, just like reading the comic with Rocket Red. There's no reason to care, you know? And I think like that kind of lack of tactile experience with digital stuff is kind of why a lot of times people just don't care about a lot of things, because they don't physically see it or feel it or touch it. There's something to be said about like the tangible physical contact connection with things that you like, you know. So I'm you know, obviously guy who does videos on comic book collections and Blu-rays and toys, likes his physical media, but like, you know, I feel like it's important, and I feel like, yeah, digital comics can be beneficial because you can get stuff that's not in print. I think Blu-rays, you know, obviously, like, not everything will make it to Blu-ray or DVD, and streaming is convenient, and so it's good to have digital backups of that. Same thing with, like, music, for example. But for toys, I think if you're gonna only invest in 3D models of things that could be toys, I just don't see the appeal. And I don't know, I don't think that's controversial. I also think the people that usually watch my channel are not gonna have a problem with me saying that, but I don't really care either. I think digital toys is dumb, and I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I will never see the appeal. And I'm not even talking like I'm that old, I'm 30. But like, I just will never see the appeal of digital toys, because that just feels antithetical to the existence of toys. Yeah, so that's kind of my thing on that. All right, so Rocket Red, pretty cool. Nobody knows who these guys are. The Rocket Red Brigade are Russia's like superhero force, basically, and they've had the Rocket Reds on the Justice League International a lot. There's several of them, because they are a brigade, and so what's kind of cool is they give you different numbers. Like it comes with like number 11, 3, 7, and 11, and I think there's a platinum variant of this that has different chest numbers. I was gonna switch it, but I don't know how easy it is to do because they look pretty chunky. But I think it's neat. He's got little boot thrusters, but he doesn't come with a flight stand, so it's kind of like hard to use. But there's like boot thrusters. This is again kind of a crazy figure to throw out in the last wave, because I don't know. He's probably reusing parts from something. They've gotten really good at reuse. The early days of McFarlane DC, they really would just like, they would reuse, they would make unique molds for everybody, but then after a certain point, they were like thinking it's getting very expensive to do so, and so they kind of created a few standardized like bodies, and I'm cool with that. Some people were like, oh, I really want the unique skulls. I'm like, yeah, I would too. Like, if every figure had a unique sculpt, that'd be awesome. Price of the line would go up because of that, but also you would get less figures, because And that was kind of the case. We got less figures in the first year than we did later, because once you have a base body and you only have to make like 2 or 3 new parts and just paint it up, boom, you can suddenly produce a ton more characters. Also, speaking of, I've been doing a checklist of McFarlane's stuff since they've been doing DC, which has been 6 years at this point. And so I was like, okay, how many figures have they done? I've been working on a checklist. I've been working with a couple friends on it, but one friend in particular has been doing some crazy stuff, so shout out Master Ben on that. We've been working on the spreadsheet to try to track every figure, and it's tricky because the McFarlane website's missing a bunch. Most action figure checklist websites are missing a bunch. And you kind of go, okay, well, how many figures have they done? We've put into that spreadsheet, and it's not 100% yet because I think there's still some stuff missing, and obviously, it's not even June yet. McFarlane's got the license till the end of December, so there's still a lot to come. But, you know, we've kind of looked at, I think we've charted like 1,200 figures. I think they've put out like 1,200, and we're specifically just doing the 7-inch DC Multiverse figures, and I think we're going to work on the Batman the Animated Series stuff as well. But here's Wally West Flash, looking all 90s and cool. But we've done like 1,200. I think it was like 1,200 figures at least 1,200 in the spreadsheet so far. And that's not including June through December because I feel like at this rate, McFarlane's not going to stop until like there's going to be stuff coming out in December at the rate they're going. We still have like a Harley Quinn drawing board crowdfund to ship as well. So there's going to be more figures, especially because like they just announced a whole wave of Batmans that are basically reissues with some tweaks. So it doesn't even mean like, you know, but still it's going to add to the list. But to do like 1,200 of these in 6 years is impressive because I haven't done a full calculation yet, but I want to say they did more DC in the 6 years they own the license than Mattel did in like the 10 years of their license. So I'm very, very impressed by that. And it's cool too because it extends beyond DC. We got Static, we got Milestone characters, we got Static, we got the New 52 Static Shock first because that was the one they were told they could make, even though they wanted to do the 2000 Static. And then we got a Icon, which was based on Milestone Returns, which was awesome. I still wish we got Hardware, Rocket, Hardware and Rocket at least. But you know, I take what I can get with Milestone stuff. But with this Static, this one is based on the original '90s Milestone, which I know DC Direct. I think it was in DC Icons, did a '90s Static, and I don't remember if he actually came out. I remember a bunch of that line got canceled, and the last stuff that did come out was very rare. So I don't actually have that one. If he existed. I just can't remember if he did. So this is kind of nice to get a 90s Static going on. And he's also got like unique effect parts. So even though he's using like the generic body, he's still got like static electricity effects. But yeah, this is the thing is like you could get, and that's why I was like also pining for Aztec a bit. Because they're like, hey, here's Monarch, here's Extant, here's, you know, Wave Rider. Like they just had all these like random blurbo DC characters from the 90s, and I'm like, where's my favorite one? Where's Aztec? I really love the character of Aztec. He's so underdeveloped, but I appreciate him. He's just the best. So anyways, Static's pretty cool. He's got his trash can lid. Oh, they did this with one other figure. I don't remember what it was, but they put a little stand hole, so I think you can put the trash can lid on the stand to balance it out, which is awesome. But yeah, so it's just so cool, the wide reach of this line, because, and I know that it was frustrating for a lot of us, like especially Black Canary was my big frustration. I was like, how do we have this line going this long without a Black Canary? And we finally got her. She's sitting in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store because like I have been waiting on the Star Trek nacelle figures. I shipped her out this morning with the nacelle Star Trek, and if I hadn't planned this video for this week, would be also talking about Black Canary. But getting Black Canary is important because I think like she's one of the most prominent DC women that never gets her like proper due in adaptations and stuff. Like I think the amount of damage the Arrow show did to Black Canary is just insane. But the thing is that, like, I'm just so glad we got her in Multiverse finally, and she looks great. She looks really great. And there's even a chance we'll get another one. Anyways, there's Static. He's getting posed because he's staying on the shelf. It's Static. I'm gonna put him right here. I love Static. So it's been nice to finally get these. Here we finally got Ice. We got Fire a few years ago, and so the DC Comics superhero known as Ice finally got into the line. It's funny because Fire was done in her full Fire form, whereas DC Comics superhero Ice was done normal. So they don't they kind of match because they're both like using their powers. But I think a lot of us did also want like a standard looking Fire. Will we see it? Who knows? I know Mattel, they did. It's kind of interesting because Mattel's version of Fire was non-flames, and then McFarland's was flames. So I'm also like thinking about, I'm probably gonna get a paper cutter too while doing this video. Interesting part on Ice that I'm noticing with her is where is she? Yeah, I'm looking at her here. Is this? Yeah, it is what I thought. Okay, so I remember when the pictures came out, we weren't exactly sure, but it looked like it. Yeah, she has a fabric shirt. And I guess that's a good I kind of was waiting until we talk about people with capes, and actually kind of do, but I don't really mean to be looking like her, like, adjusting her too much there, but that's a fabric shirt on top of an overlay. I think because they're reusing this body from something, but, like, that's a fabric overlay, which is cool, and adds, I love the hair swoosh as well on her. And then also, it's funny because these ice parts, I was like, I recognize these ice parts. They came with Batman and Robin from the Batman and Robin movie because they were, being frozen by Mr. Freeze, and so these were the accessories with the Batman and Robin, and so they give them to her so she can, like, make ice armaments. That works, like, it's cool. But yeah, so that's another great addition to the lineup. All right, Saturn Girl, obviously she was revealed / released alongside Aztec, and I think that it's cool we got Saturn Girl. It's interesting. The Legion feels almost up McFarlane's alley. I'm kind of surprised they waited this long to start the Legion, because basically we didn't start till Lightning Lad, which I think was 2024, or is he 2025? And then we got Saturn Girl, and then the next one pretty close together. I don't know if we're going to get any more Legion. I think, if you're going to make... I think the three most prominent Legionnaires are Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, and Lightning Lad. And we got all of them. The fun part is that, at least in their default colors, because Lightning Lad and Cosmic Boy had chase variants, the default colors, they're each from a different era of Legion, which is kind of funny. Like, the default look on the Lightning Lad is the Bendis Legion era from, like, post-DC Rebirth time. And then Saturn Girl here is based on the 90s reboot of Legion from after 0 Hour. So that's pretty fun. And then Cosmic Boy is based on the retro boot, when they brought him back as adults post-Final Crisis. So... yeah, I know a lot of Legion stuff. They're like my favorite DC team. So probably my favorite superhero team in general. This is nice though, because I think she's got some reuse, but she looks good. They painted her flight ring. That's a good detail. It's not molded. It's on the fist as well, which is nice. But yeah, it's pretty cool to get. At least we got the three main Legionnaires. We also technically got Starboy, because they made the Tom Keller Starman, who is Starboy from the Legion of Superheroes in the past as part of the JSA. So technically, we have 4 Legionnaires. And also, that Starboy is from 3-Boot Legion. So guess what? Completely different era. So the 4 characters we have for the Legion are all in different eras. And if we get anybody else, and also all in different formats, now that I think about it too, on top of that. Because Lightning Lad was a deluxe figure exclusive to Walmart. Cosmic Boy was a deluxe figure at retail. Saturn Girl was a red platinum basic figure. And Starman / Starboy was a Page Puncher's Red Platinum. So if they wanted to slip more Legion in, we would need one as a standard release figure, no exclusivity, a standard release Page Puncher, I guess a DC Vault release, and that could be funny because those are re-releases. We also would need, what is it, a gold label standard figure. So there's options if they wanted to keep this up. There's still more eras. We could do Silver Age Legion. We could do the New 52 Legion, right? Like that would be fun. Like maybe Timberwolf. Like you could just pick one from each era to do, and then we'd have like every era and then every format of McFarlane represented in the Legion display. They're also, I will say, the Chase variant in Cosmic Boy was reboot Cosmic Boy, so he actually would match Saturn Girl. And I was like, oh, like when they revealed Saturn Girl, I was like, maybe I should track down the reboot Cosmic Boy. And then I was like, no, because I kind of like the fact that he's also got standard hands, so he's got painted ring. I kind of like the fact that that they all are a different era, because I think that does kind of represent the Legion a bit and their history, and then also I think it kind of works as a Legion of Three Worlds homage in a way, because that was a crossover. But there's Cosmic Boy and Saturn Girl. I was trying to find Lightning Lad for the video, didn't know which box he's in, because again, the whole idea is I'm going to put all these guys into a big old display and then decide which figures I like the best. Okay, this video's been going on kind of long, so I'm just going to start getting to it. We got Professor Pig. I'm trying to think of what else. I think one of my big takeaways from McFarlane's time was the sheer amount of figures that came out allowed them to just go hog wild. Yeah, I used that phrase while opening Professor Pig, and then waited for a comedy beat so long that it might have started a YouTube ad. Yeah, they just went crazy, and I think, sometimes people are like, oh my god, they made so many Batmans. It's like, yeah, Warner Brothers' contract, at least when it was at Mattel, and I've heard this story repeated from several people that work, that actually looks really good. I don't collect Batman villains usually for this, but when else we're going to get Professor Pig. So the thing was that I think the rule is either from Warner Brothers that the toy line is either 60% Batman variations or 60% Batman characters. So yes, there is an insane amount of Batman variants in McFarlane DC. First of all, they sell. Why would you not make something that sells? Second of all, to get that 60% requirement in a line that put out 1,200 figures in 6 years means you have a lot of Batmans. So it's just kind of like how that ends up going. So like I just don't know exactly what the rule is, but I do know that at least there was, and you can definitely tell by output, not just in sales, that it's probably still in place. I just don't know, does Professor Pig count towards the 60%, or does it only count if it's Batman? I don't know. But yeah, they went nuts with the Batmans, but it's like for every Batman we got a Black Hawk. Do you know how many toys of Black Hawk we got? I got an old DC Direct figure. It's up on the Mattel shelf. That's it. He does not. You don't get Black Hawks. We also only ever get like the leader of Black Hawk. We don't ever get the cool ones, like Lady Black Hawk. Not to say that Bartholomew Hawk is not that cool, but like I really like Lady Black Hawk, and I wish we could get her. And who knows? Maybe she'll pop up because in some ways, a lot of people are looking at the recent leak list as like this is the end of McFarlane. And I'm like, yeah, they just announced a whole wave of Batmans that weren't on that list. So just because we think we know what they're doing doesn't mean we do. Also, they used this image of him. They sculpted him like this, and the card says he's Janos Proska and not Bartholomew Hawk, even though he looks like Bartholomew Hawk. I don't know if that's a quibble. I think it's a quibble. Kind of had this issue since day one. The cards are not necessarily the most accurate in terms of bios and stuff, and so it makes listings really weird. Because the guy they're mentioning, Jonas, is a Blackhawk. Yes, he is one of the leader Blackhawks. And he has a completely different costume. So this is not him. This is Bartholomew Hawk. Also notice that, oh yeah, I get to talk about this because it's one of my favorite things. They started figuring out before Marvel Legends has done it that you can just swap a hairpiece out. So like he has a wig, right? He has a wig that lets him have his hair, or you have an alternate wig that lets him wear his hat. That's cool. I love that. Also, it's funny. I went through a few collector figures. None of them had faceplates. McFarlane was doing faceplates on retail figures. That's something that I want to see more of, because I think McFarlane proved you can do faceplates. You can do swappable hair pieces. Apparently, you have to mark this figure 17 plus because he comes with guns, and it's like, yeah, he's a World War II fighter pilot. What would you expect him to come with? But with all that stuff said, they managed to cram in modern features that we don't see in basic figures into their basic figures. Like Hasbro doesn't really embrace cloth capes. Here's one of the big ones, Zatanna. So, you know, Hasbro doesn't put cloth capes or faceplates or hair systems into Marvel Legends that are standard price. McFarlane can put at least cloth capes and sometimes cloth wired capes into standard price figures. So why can't the bigger, fancier companies do that? Good question. Also love this. Zatanna and Detective Chimp get separate trading cards. That is awesome. So I have a little fun story about this figure. I love that Bobo got his own card. It makes me happy. So fun fact with this figure is that Zatanna was originally announced to be an Elite Edition, and Elite Edition is a new McFarlane like subline. This Spawn, well, with his crazy cloth wired cape and his chains and effects, he's an Elite Edition. Those are like $60. Those are very nice, based off the Spawn, because I don't have any of the others. I think they started them with Fallout or something. But Elite Editions are nice, and I think they're great. And they announced Zatanna and Detective Chimp as an Elite Edition, as like the first DC Elite Edition. And a lot of people were like, oh man, $60 for Zatanna, that's gonna suck. Like, you know, and people were saying, why is she come with Detective Chimp then if she's gonna be that much? And I'm like, how dare you say slander against Detective Chimp? I almost, because I love Zatanna, I almost wanted this more for Detective Chimp than Zatanna. Look at him, it's Detective Chimp. Like, why would you not want Detective Chimp? So Detective Chimp here, he's got just lateral shoulders and waist pivot and a head pivot. Perfect. You know, you don't really need much more for him. Zatanna has a couple hand options. She's got like a gripping hand and then a wand hand, but the wand's kind of unpainted. Her fishnets are just painted on. I don't think they're sculpted on. I think they're just painted on. And her boots are just painted on. She still is very nice. I want to just write this, but I think if she was an Elite Edition, if she was that $60 Elite Edition, just based on my experience with Spawn, and kind of what we've seen of the Image Founders line, I think she would have, if she was 60 instead of whatever 35, right? If she was 60, I think she would have had the actual netted stockings, sculpted boots. Detective Chimp probably would have had a magnifying glass because he has an open hand to hold one. And I think maybe her wand would have been painted. There went her hair. I snatched Zatanna's wig. My goodness. Side note, love that you can have the long hair, or you can just pop that off and then pop on the hat. I guess that's how that works. That's actually a good question, though. She has her hat, goes over her... Why does she have a wig system if she only comes with one set of hair? Huh. All right. So I think when she was an Elite figure, she would have had the fishnet stockings because Black Canary has the actual fishnets, despite being just a deluxe figure, but she doesn't come with a Detective Chimp, so she's automatically not as good. Just noticed her torso is like a little wobbly. So I think she probably would have had alternate faces maybe, alternate hair maybe, definitely would have had a little bit more paint, would have definitely had the regular stockings because they figured it out with the drawing board Harley and applied it to Black Canary, and I think Bobo would have gotten his magnifying glass, maybe some extra articulation if this was still a $60 set. But making it $35 means a lot more people can afford it, and therefore getting Zatanna and Detective Chimp, two of the most important characters, into displays for cheaper. So I think it was worth it in the end, but it does tell me that, yes, there was other plans with this being an Elite. But they also probably were like, I think they made that announcement. I'm putting Detective Chimp with Aztec because important things. I think that announcement came shortly before they said they were not going to have the license anymore. Maybe they're like, we don't need to introduce Elite Edition DC when we're losing the license. Okay, so last batch here is the most fun to open, is the Page Punchers, We got Golden Age Wonder Woman with a Golden Age Wonder Woman comic. She was the only normal release of her Page Puncher series. So normally there's like 2 normals and then 2 red platinums, at least lately. And so in the case of Wonder Woman, it was 1 normal and 2 red platinums. So is that enough, or do I have to cut? I gotta cut the bottom. So these have the clamshell packaging, which it's fun. It's fine. It's a throwback. I didn't need this back thrown in. But they do come with comics. That's what makes them Page Punchers. So it's got good old Wonder Woman #1, the summer issue. So we got that going for us. But they still have, they're basically just, otherwise just normal DC Multiverse figures. They're just labeled differently. I thought that was a cool way to expand the line. But a bunch of the ones I wanted were red platinum, which, as I've pointed out, is annoying because I have trouble finding these in store. So there's Diana. I think I'm gonna just start cracking these open and kind of wrapping up because I realize this video is like way longer than I thought it'd be. So Steve Trevor was a red platinum. Annoyingly, guess what though? Found him in a store. They had Diana on the shelf. They had 2 Dianas, and I was like, oh, is there gonna be a, oh, I hope there's a Steve, because I saw there was 3 figures, and yep, lo and behold, they had a Steve Rogers, or Steve Trevor. It's the other white Steve. So I was like, awesome, I'm gonna get myself a Steve Trevor. So I got him, got Diana, and then I was like, I'm gonna open these together at some point, which is what I'm doing right now, except I'm not gonna open them all the way because I'm trying to wrap up the video. But I also noticed, I think he reuses parts from Sergeant Rock, and I think, yeah, him and Blackhawk share legs and arms. So that makes sense. They're both World War II guys. So that's cool. That's kind of the thing about the reuse is like, yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. And then the other one that was harder to get from the gold, well, I guess it's not really part of the Golden Age series. I guess she was part of another one, but it's Cheetah. But it looks like the Golden Age Cheetah. So I thought she goes with the Wonder Woman. GameStop came through on her. So that was nice. She actually comes with Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm just going to move along. I'm going to open these after because video's long. Another one, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. I've been trying to get all the human Green Lanterns at least. I missed some of the alien ones. So they did Hal Jordan as the standard and Jessica as the red platinum. I would have inverted that because we didn't have a Jessica before. So I had trouble finding her. Ordered her on GameStop. GameStop canceled order. GameStop made me sad. They canceled my order. And so I just, I had to go looking around. I was looking on eBay. I didn't find her in stores when that wave started stocking in my area. Local comic shop, not my normal one, but another one, had one. Checked the price, and I was like, that's basically what eBay is charging. So I bought her. So now I've got my Jessica Cruz. Pretty happy about that. I wanted to open Bloodwind. GameStop came through on him. Bloodwind was a character that I believe exists separately from being an alter ego of Martian Manhunter, but he also is an alter ego of Martian Manhunter. He's very obscure from the 90s, and he is the platinum variant to Martian Manhunter, which to me makes total sense because in universe, he's a variant to Martian Manhunter. Reason I wanted to open him fully was just because, look at that cape. It's not wired, but it's a cloth cape, dual tone fabric. And that's on a what was supposed to be a standard price figure. Other companies, step up. And then lastly, we got Miss Martian, who got canceled twice at Mattel, and so we finally have a proper figure of her. She was the Chase variant to Robin, which doesn't make sense, but they're just on the same Teen Titans team. They come with the same comic. But yeah, GameStop pulled through on her. So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up. It ran way too long. I just wanted to talk about kind of how nuts they've been going with DC Multiverse in its last year. It's not something I've really seen before. Usually we hear licenses up and we just see a company just kind of, you know, they're like, whatever's in production, throw it out, and then whatever, we'll just do the rest later. The McFarland's like, let's just go hardcore. You know, they're just throwing everything at the wall. We're getting a bunch more female characters, which we've been asking for years. We're getting more obscure guys from the 90s to kind of go with that. We need more Justice Society members. But they've just decided we're just going to go crazy. They got more movie stuff coming up. I'm looking forward to it. So this is kind of like a half-year check-in into McFarlane's last year, and we shall see how it develops, and probably circle back around at the end of the year. and maybe talk about it some more. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe to notification. But if you didn't already, that tells me you would like this video and want to see me talk about this line again, because I really want to do something when this whole crazy madhouse is done, because it's been an incredible ride. So on that, if you want to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server using the link below. You can also check out channel memberships where there's perks like early access to videos. Let's give some special shout outs to some of our channel members. Special shout out to these Captain Tier channel members: Spin-54, Forever1000, Master Ben 95, Super Shadix Boom, Veloquence, Mr. Smelly Potato, Alt Mode Archive, Alice James, Taran Thomas, Headbang1211, Incurgio, and Big Guido KC. Thank you all for your support of this channel, viewers and channel members alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You'll also find Wonderful Graphic Designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for comic reviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, watch them put out like 200 more figures before the end of the year. It feels like we're at that pace right now.